After all this time, I finally found the perfect slime. They said I was crazy. They said I was wasting my time, but I knew all my trips to Walmart would pay off, and they did. I finally found the perfect slime that glows in the dark. Now I will scream from the rafters, this slime is perfect! Whoa! Whoa! My back. Oh no! My ultra rare, ultra valuable Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle toys! They were gonna be worth millions of dollars and now they're all covered in slime! What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do here? Wait a minute! The kitchen! That's it! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! They're all covered! What am I gonna do? I better clean them off. Oh great! Just great! We're all out of soap! I'm gonna have to go to the store! Well, home at last. Now I can finally clean these off. Holy crap! These look amazing! Yes, it's true. This Raphael is amazing. I mean, look at him. He perfectly captures the look of the old Playmates toys while providing better articulation, more detail, and a larger scale. It's as if your old toys grew up with you. He's exactly everything I wanted from this line. Hi, I'm Gary from Raz Rentals, and this is my first toy review, ever. So, let's take a look at the brand new Raphael from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Ultimates line from Super7. Raphael was put up for pre-order way back in October 2019, and we finally got him last month, which was August of 2020. So altogether, it took about 10 months for this guy to reach my doorstep, and the wait was completely worth it. When he showed up, he came in this awesome packaging. I mean, now this packaging is really cool looking, and it kind of pains me to say that most likely I will eventually get rid of this packaging because it takes up too much space. But if you're a collector and you like leaving all your stuff on card, you know, this is like the perfect packaging. You got this cool little slip cover, and then underneath you have this really nice window box. Obviously Raph's not in there because I took him out, but I mean, if you had like all these set up on your wall, it would look really cool. It's like a work of art, man, a work of art. And on the back, you got a nice little description of who Raphael is. It's funny because it talks about, this kind of makes mention to both personalities of Raphael. Here it mentions him being the hothead, which is how he is in like the comic books and the movie, but also at the top here it talks about how he's the witty voice of the Turtles, which is how he was in, you know, the original Ted Wolfe cartoon, and maybe the Archie comic a little bit. Raphael was created in 1984 by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. He first appeared in TMNT #1. Unlike the other Turtles, Raph was given a strong personality early on. It took them a while to figure out who Donatello, Michelangelo, and Leonardo were, but they knew as early as the 4th issue printed that Raphael was the hothead of the group, the aggressive, quick-tempered one who was always ready for a fight. You know, because of that, Raphael met Casey Jones in that issue, who also was an irrational, hothead, angry type character. Both of them like to fight and get into wild, crazy adventures, and I think that's why Raphael is the favorite of Kevin Eastman. Pretty much any Kevin Eastman comic that comes out where he's working with a solo turtle, he always picks Raph. So, you know, if I were you and you get the chance to put some money down on who the last Ronin is, I would say that it's going to be Raphael. But even though Raphael is the hothead of the group, he's also the ladies' man. And I say that because it's like every single franchise or any single continuity, he always gets like a girlfriend eventually. So like in Archie Comics, he has Ninjara. In IDW, he has a Lopex, both of which are foxes. In the original cartoon, he has a girlfriend named Mona Lisa. And in the 2012 cartoon, he has Mona Lisa. I'm pretty sure there is like he has a sparring partner later on in the Mirage comics. I can't remember the name of the storyline, who I kind of feel is like a little bit of a romantic interest. And, you know, we all saw how he blushed whenever April O'Neil was talking about him in the movie. But don't tell him that. He gets pretty irate. My favorite Raphael storyline is called The River, and it was in TMNT Volume 1, issues 24 to 26, and it was written and drawn by Rick Veitch. And basically, a leech sucks some of Raph's blood and steals some of his mutagen. So Raph, during the storyline, keeps devolving into a normal turtle, while the leech becomes bigger and stronger and goes on a killing spree. So the turtles, have to hunt him down and somehow get the mutagen back into Raphael. It's a really great storyline. The artwork is great in it. I highly recommend it, even though they never print it anymore because there was a disagreement between Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird, and Rick Veitch. Recently, Brian from Super7 said he wanted to make these figures because when you were a kid, you'd watch the Turtle Show for like a half an hour a day, and then you'd go to your room and you'd pull out all your Ninja Turtle toys, and you'd play with them for hours and hours. So, ultimately, see what I did there? When you think of the Turtles, you picture those amazingly sculpted figures by Playmates. I mean, and he couldn't be more right, because when I think of Baxter, I think of the fly legs, I think of the extra purple arms, and the syringe in his pocket, and the fly swatter weapon. I think of General Trag with the snake sculpted around his leg, and like the crab or scorpion or whatever's on him. I think of Muckman with all the gross little details on him. In the cartoon, you couldn't have all that. So all those details were lost, like tears in the rain. But in the toy line, all those details made the Turtle toy line to be like pretty much the best toy line that ever was and will ever be. So let's break this guy down and see what Super 7 kept and what they improved upon, and if they left anything out. Now, the heads look really good. They're very, very similar. Even if you look at his teeth, where I guess you'd say his canines are, those teeth are wider in the original toy and the newer one than the molars. And, everything looks almost exact. There's a little bit of space between his two teeth, but I don't think it's that noticeable in person. I think it's just something you kind of pick up when you're looking at a video. The color is very similar, except he's a little darker. There was some people were worried that these were going to be a little shiny because some of Super 7's older He-Man figures were very shiny. But I feel like these came out really good. Even the new Thundercats figures that came out, they're nowhere near as shiny as those Masters of the Universe figures. So that's all good. If you look at the bicep here, you'll see even there, they left the vein in there. So that's just like a small attention to detail that they kept. The actual muscle definition, like how they made the muscles in the legs, are very, very similar. Like the calf and the, I don't know what the hell that's called. The deltoid. Anyways, they look really good. Now there is some artistic difference, or, there's some changes here in the toes, but I don't think that's not bothersome. I think that's something that makes them look a lot better. The front of the shell has it's roughly the same shape and roughly the same color, but this new one has texture on it and has a bunch of scrapes on it, which look really good. And you got the belt here, and the belt of the original one is very simple. It has some lines, but this new one has just very fine, detailed, all sculpted on there. That looks great. And the R looks really nice on both of them. And if you turn them around, you'll see their shells. Now, the original one is just like a flat black painted shell, and he's got some scrapes on there, but nothing too detailed. Now, you look at this Super 7 one, there's a lot of detail in here, and it looks really, really nice. These scratches are, very deep and really thought out. The fist dagger holder looks a lot nicer. You have little straps around it. And I think that this new Super 7 figure also gets me to appreciate some details that I didn't notice in the original figure. So you have these little like buckles on the side of this guy here, and they're there on the original ones, but I never even noticed it really. But it's cool they're there. And something else though I really like is on the belt for this guy, he's got these little holes. And if you look at the original figure, he has those holes too, but they're not real holes. They're just like, you know, make-believe holes. Now the pads are different. They're a little bit more thought out on this one. Where this one is just like, it looks like a, you know, cloth is wrapped around them. Where this one actually has like the separate pieces. So I'm fine with that. I think that's good. It all looks good. Now, when you're a little kid, you really don't care about articulation at all. You just want the guy to pose, and you just pretty much want him to have a fist so that he can punch the other guy in the face, and he can hold his weapon so he can stab guys and, you know, whatever else. So articulation for this guy is very simple. So he's got a swivel for his neck. He's got, you know, swivel shoulders, swivel in his forearms, and he's got like a ball-jointed legs. And these are pretty nice. You can always get... Raphael isn't hard to stand. To be honest with you, I was excited about the Super 7 figure because I never had Raphael when I was a kid. I had most of the turtle toys. I had all 3 regular turtles, and I had Bebop and Shredder, but I never had Rocksteady, the Foot Soldier, and Raphael from the original line. So to get him first, to me, it's pretty exciting. You know, it's cool. But now that I'm an old man, I need some more articulation in my life. And this new figure has a ton of great articulation. He's got a ball-jointed neck, so you know you can get him to look up about there. Looks down there. Get some nice poses. I think it works pretty well. His shoulder articulation is really nice. Goes up to there. Can rotate around. He's got a swivel in his bicep. He has a swivel in his elbow. And he has a hinge. And he has rotation in his wrist. And depending on which hand you have in there, you have a different kind of hinge for the wrist joint there. Now he doesn't have any articulation in the upper body here, but down here you can rotate his waist inside, and you can also rock it back and forth. He's got ball joints in his hips that work really well. You know, you could get him to do a semi-split, but I wouldn't recommend it because he might not like it. And he's got twist. You can twist his thighs or his hips up there like that, which is nice. He has a hinge in his knee, and he also has a swivel. And he's got little ankle rockers or whatever you call it down at the feet, which is very nice. So you can get him in a lot of really nice poses. There are a very common complaint about these figures is that he's very loose. You can do that. I don't really have that problem. I think he still holds together really well. The only complaint I have about the articulation, and this is a very common complaint with like Neca figures too, is that the pegs for these joints are way too small. And every time you get these out of the package, they're very stiff, and it's very hard to move them at first. So it's like a nightmare. You're like worried that you're going to rip these legs off and break them, and then you're going to have to deal with trying to get a fixed one, or, you know, possibly never even be able to get, you know, he's just broken, and you can't even get a replacement. So I don't like that. I wish they would make some kind of system that was a little sturdier and not as problematic. I think that, like, also with a lot of the photography and the other videos I've watched, a lot of times he appears like he has a giant head. And I think that's just the way that people use their cameras. I think it's just, you know, how the camera focuses on the body, that his head like appears a lot bigger. So I would say that in person, his head is very proportionate to his body. It definitely looks really good. And even here, like that looks really dark, and it looks like you have a big space there. And you know, granted, you kind of do, but in person, the way you look at it most of the time and the way you set it up, you don't even really notice that gap. So those were like a couple of things that I was like a little worried about when I saw the early reviews before getting them in hand. But you know, since then everything is right as rain. Now, some people say that they prefer these figures to have double jointed knees and double jointed elbows. But personally, I'm glad that they don't have that. I don't necessarily like that. I think that it usually looks weird. So him only being able to bend his knee that much is fine with me. You know, like of course with the double jointed knee, you could get it so that like, you know, the back of his calf will touch the back of his leg up here, but I don't know, it's just weird to me. I don't like it. I do like how they have, this is rubber, and it fits over there nice, so it's, you know, it matches up well. I think a lot of times with double joints, you get problems like this. Like, yeah, that's, you could have his leg all the way up there, but does that really look normal? That looks weird. And I know it's like, you know, he's got like pants on, but that's how most of these figures look to me. And even if you try to bend it, you're like, okay, well, we'll just bend it at the one part of the leg. That's weird. And even, let's see if I can... This is a little better, but even that is still like shorter than it should be. So not having double jointed knees, and I think the way they hid all the joints on this guy, where you don't have any pegs, you just have the joint inside of there, you know, I think that came out really well. They did a really nice job. And the paint on my guy looks really good. Like I said, his color is very similar to the old Playmates one, except a little darker. You know, his eyes look good. The red on all of his bandanas and his pads, they're all nice and clean. Although, maybe some of the... No, this doesn't feel like a separate part, but this is definitely different, this top. The only mark I have is right here on the front of his shell. And other than that, everything looks fine. Now, when it comes to accessories, this guy is loaded. First, he has this unpainted weapons rack. And, you know, these look all really good. If you're wondering what these used to look like, this is what the old weapons rack looked like before, you know, after taking all these bits off. So I'll probably leave everything on here. And, but every time I touch it, I accidentally bend these stars. So it's only a matter of time before they fall off. And it's not perfect anymore. You have a pair of metal painted size. And these look really good, but both of them that I have are warped. This is actually a little better than the other one. Now, the third set of size are flat gray. And you can see that these ones look really nice. These are probably my favorite. I'll probably display the figure with these ones just because there isn't any warping. And I think they might even fit in his hand a little better. And you can see how it compares to the original ones. It's actually, I mean, it's a little bigger, but not that much bigger. Next up is the Kama. Now this thing I guess is like some kind of scythe or something like that in Japanese weaponry. I don't really know much about it. But it looks really cool. I never really liked the original one that much. I always thought it looked a little cheesy, you know, because it had these rounded edges. You'd be like, what is this thing? But this definitely looks like an awesome weapon you'd be using. Like, you know, Raphael would be walking through the sewers and some foot soldiers would attack him, and then all of a sudden he'd pull this thing out and really give it to him. I have become aware for the first time in my existence. I now know that what I have done is not right, and I must make amends to all those I have wronged. I have learned free will. Ha! A foot soldier! Ha! No, don't, stop, I don't want to die! Ha! Well, maybe you should have thought about that before you came into the sewers. Ha! Now, this weapon here, depending on which hand you have it in, it can be a little loose. But sometimes you just have to find the right spot, and it'll stay in place really nice for you. The first set of turtle daggers, I think people usually refer to this one as the pizza cutter, because it kind of looks like that. I always like this dagger more because it's actually practical. You know, you hold it in your hand. Ooh, drop something. You know, he does a good job of holding this. If you get it in there. So then you're just kind of punching forward into the guy. You know, they're coming at you. And you could just easily just, bam, right through these robots. Like, oh, why did you do that? Now, this second set of turtle fist daggers, I've never been fond of this one. I feel like it's very impractical. And but you can tell, though, even if you look at this, this is very sharp. All these weapons that came from Super 7 are very sharp. So, you know, don't let your kids play with them or else they might put their eye out. This one, I don't know, you couldn't attack forward with it. You'd have to hold it in your hand and essentially slap the person, you know, with a handful of spikes in the face. So, I don't know. This one just doesn't really do it for me. The final weapon he comes with is a pair of ninja stars. And again, these are very sharp. A lot sharper than these original ones. And they look really nice too. I like the, you know, I like how it's sculpted. They did a really nice job. Next is a set of turtle communicators. And these look really nice. You know, I'm glad that they didn't try to like go overboard and make one that would open or just give you one. It's nice having both of them and having the option of how you want to set them up with either of them. Or you could have, you know, one turtle holding one of them and another one holding the open one. I like all the buttons on here too. They look really nice. Come on, April. Pick up the phone. I said I was sorry. I said I was sorry. Bring, bring, bring. Oh, I'm not answering him. He was talking to Mona Lisa the other day. Forget it. Raphael also comes with a very nice piece of pizza. I'm going to say, even though it's a piece of pizza, the detail in this came out really, really nice. And I even like the shiny pepperoni, so it's extra greasy. Perfect food for a turtle to be eaten. So along with the hands that Raphael comes with in the package, he also comes with 3 extra sets of hands. Now the one he comes with in the package are regular gripping hands, and he comes with a second set of gripping hands, and they look pretty much exactly the same. And first, I also want to mention the detail here of the fists. The actual painting of the nails looks really nice. So, one set of gripping hands, the hinges are more horizontal, so he can move his hand in and out, you know, like that. And then these ones, the hinge is like more vertical, so he can move up and down like this. So you can get a lot of nice poses out of him with those. Next, he's got a set of gripping hands, but they have little holes in them. They have holes between the fingers. And this is so he can hold his sai, all cool, like this. So, you know, put it in there, like that, and he's ready to go. Now, this may be gruesome, but remember, when you were a kid, you were doing this exact same kind of stuff. You'd have the guy come and he'd be like, "Hello, turtles! I'm going to shoot you." And then Raph would be like, "Oh yeah, well guess what? Bam!" And then that would be it. You know, he'd take him right out. Or, you know, Baxter might shoot him a couple times, but Raph would be like all like doing flips and stuff and headbutt him and then jump on him and start going at him while Baxter's trying to shoot him. You know, fun stuff like that. The final sets of hands that he comes with are these stretched out hands. So you can do a lot of cool things with these too. You can do a lot of nice poses. You know, he can pretend he's pointing, like he's like, that way, to the lake. Or, you know, he could be like creeping somebody out a little bit, like, brah, I'm going to suck your blood. Or you could get him to hold like the sigh in like a pretty nice, pretty easygoing way, nice relaxed way, so that it doesn't look like he's ready for the attack, but it's more like he's playing with the sigh as he's just kind of standing there, sort of thing. What? You wanted more? Well, you got it. He also comes with a second head, and in my opinion, I kind of prefer this head more than the other one. Like, I like the old Playmates style, but I like that this head kind of gives it his own personality. Like, this is the Super 7 Ninja Turtle right here. And I don't know what this design is based off of. I don't know if this is just like the Four Horsemen designing this head to look like how they would think is a cool looking Ninja Turtle head. Or, you know, is it possibly based on the 2003 series? If you look at the 2003 series, it's similar, but it's not exact. So I don't necessarily think it was that. Some people suspect that it might be like a Michael Dooney inspired head. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. It just looks really awesome. And like I said, I will definitely display him on my desk with this head. But it's nice having the option of going back if I ever want to. So, if you get a chance, should you buy this figure? Well, yes, of course you should buy it. This guy's amazing. You know, why didn't you pre-order these things? You should have pre-ordered them way back when. Look how mad he is. He is angry with you because you did not pre-order. But, like I said, you might have another chance. Hopefully Super 7 puts up more pre-orders so that people can jump on who, you know, were unsure about it or, you know, couldn't get it before. Hopefully you get a chance, because these guys, you definitely don't want to miss out on these ones. And Leonardo is next. He looks amazing. Michelangelo is great. They haven't showed Donatello, but I have a gut feeling that eventually Donatello is probably coming. If you didn't pre-order these from Super 7, and you didn't pre-order them from like Entertainment Earth or Big Bad Toy Store or any of those other stores, you're pretty much in a crappy spot right now, because you might be stuck having to buy this on eBay. But I did read a screenshot somewhere where it looked like somebody was talking to somebody from Super 7, and they said that the demand now for these Super 7 figures has risen quite a lot since they came out, since the positive reviews and all that kind of stuff about these guys. So they said that they are looking into like some more ways on producing more. So maybe they'll do a second pre-order. Who knows? That would be amazing though, because right now eBay prices are insane. Ooh, competition time. Which one of these turtle teams will reign supreme? Who knows? And who cares? You know, Neca and Super 7 are both doing their own thing. They're completely different, and they're both succeeding at their mission. You know, it's a great time to be a Ninja Turtle fan. After the 2003 series came out for Playmates, you had a couple years there where they were putting out pretty decent toys, and then they, like around the fast forward time, they were just kind of getting boring. Some of the Dark Turtles were cool. The 2007 series was, even though it was accurate to the film, they weren't that great. I got them. I got rid of them. In 2000, I don't know, like 12, they had the Classics Ninja Turtle line. They were like 7 inches tall, and then later on they had Bebop and Rocksteady, so the Turtles were actually taller than them in that line. So that line was kind of, even though it was a little cool at first, it was just kind of like, I don't really care. I got rid of them. I got rid of them mostly because in 2017, we finally had, NECA came out with these awesome cartoon Ninja Turtles, and then the year later, we had these awesome movie figures. You know, they killed it. They made pretty much anything that Playmates has put out since 2004, you know, they made them look bad. They killed, like, they destroyed the competition. And now Super 7 is killing it with these Ultimate toys. And, you know, is there a clear winner here? I don't know. I don't know if there's a winner between NECA and Super 7, but I do know that the collectors are the winners, because now is a perfect time for all these lines, and you can finally pick and choose which, you know, fits your fancy. Which do you like more? Do you want something that's based on the cartoon? I had these 2012 Ninja Turtles, and you know, those are okay, but you know, you can't compete with the Super 7 and the Neca and the original Playmates toys at the moment. So now we have so many figures coming out, like sometimes feels like too many, you know, but I don't want to complain. This is the second best time to be a Turtles fan. You know, I feel like a kid again, just like Super 7 wanted. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you thought about my review. Like I said, this is my first one, so if you have any tips or any suggestions, let me know. Let me know what I missed, what I should have talked about, what you didn't really care about me talking about. You know, but be gentle, please. All right. I plan on doing some more reviews. I'd like to do a Leatherhead review to show the differences between the arcade and the cartoon figures. You know, some people don't know that there's a difference, but there clearly is a difference in the actual sculpt. So, like, when I was looking for it, I couldn't find it, and I thought, you know, I should do a video on those. And eventually, I'd also like to get into more of the NECA figures. I'd love to do Metalhead review. You know, just talk about all these different things. My favorite thing about talking about old toys is, you know, seeing how they progressed, showing the comparisons of what all the older figures look like and how they look now. I think it's really cool to just see where we went, where we came from, and where we are now. And it'll be cool to see where we're going. You know, who knows what tomorrow may bring.